Oh, well, good morning. There it is, 6:31. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to January 11th, 2019. It is Friday. Uh, wow. What an amazing yesterday. I don't know if anybody has anything on their heart that's sitting there or anything that they need to get out. I always do that as an open because it gives me 2 minutes to figure out what the heck I'm doing.
Well, I just want to share that yesterday you had said to me how I've dealt with things bigger than arthritis in my life. And so, I was thinking about that. That kind of resonated. I was thinking about that. And the Lord put it in my mind. He reminded me about the situation around when I left my first marriage. And it was somewhat similar to Angel Fletcher's story, very similar. And he was showing me, like you did that. As a young woman with a child, you did that. What makes you think you can't do anything? And then I also remembered that Tony Robbins, I heard him once say that we can change the state of our mind like that. We can just simply change our mind. And that, those things have been percolating in my head, and it's true. And I found myself waking up this morning in a much better place, even physically, than I have been for a while. So it works.
Congratulations, because again, this thing about it takes 21 days. The reason science says it takes 21 days is because that's what happens if they continually have the thought. That's what we're told, to have the thought for 21 days. It's have the thought, but again, there's this whole physiology to every idea, every thought we have operates in our body. So I appreciate you saying that, because for the rest of us who haven't had to leave a spouse with a child in a similar situation to what we've heard of Angels, yeah, we would think arthritis probably ain't a whole lot. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's pretty powerful. Well, today, funny how I'm loving how this is going. It makes me look like a genius, and goodness gracious knows I'm not in certain circumstances. But today, one of the things that we talked about, or that I'm going to share about, that came up last night, I'm starting to come up with ideas. I'm starting to have ideas about what's going on here, and something that keeps showing up for me is this page right here. And where do I present? Right there. Can y'all see that page? Stuck. That's how you spell stuck, right? S-T-U-C-K. I gotta ask. Silly thoughts you can't kick. Now, before you read the rest of the page, you probably already did. That's okay. But how many of us, when we think we're stuck, how many of us immediately kind of venture towards, lean towards, fall towards, slide towards? Stuck is not always the positive expression of that word. Most people don't say, I'm stuck in love. You could, because there is the positive side when you stick to your guns, right? When you're stuck in your ways, and they're your ways and you're not following the crowd. But for the most part, a lot of times this word stuck means I'm not down with it. I'm not up with it yet. So that's when we're going to have this conversation. So I don't know how to move the header off of this thing, because I can't read that. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, okay. What do you get stuck for? What do you get stuck for? That's the key. Meaning, what are you stuck on? It's kind of like when who remembers, this just came to me. Who remembers the Band-Aid commercial? I am on Band-Aid because Band-Aid stuck on me. I am stuck. Yeah, so you got everybody going. But isn't it funny how music is so important to our life? That's why I think we have that in church as well. How has being stuck served you? Now again, let's go both sides of this coin, right? Stuck has two sides, three sides to it. How has being stuck served you in the past? What makes you stuck? Now that I don't think is a word, is it? I'm stuck in it. So, what makes you stuck? Is it, have you ever looked at anything in a positive way? Because I don't know that I have. I know I've talked about it. I know I've used it in dialogue about people, but I don't know that I've ever said I'm stuck in a positive way. I think that word has a negative vibration to me. Well, I should say that I don't believe it has the same vibration as love to me. When you do give up, when do you give up being stuck? That's a tough one. Because that means we got to realize, well, first of all, the word stuck, for any of my people who live up in the white stuff right now, or rednecks who paint their trucks, camouflage color and go mudding every weekend. There's sometimes, I remember, again, growing up on a farm in the mud as well as in the snow, there's times where how many of us have had everybody in the car when we're trying to get out in the snow? Okay, everybody rock. And you're rocking in the car. Do you really think you make that much difference with a 2,000, 3,000 pound vehicle? So what happens? We're stuck, especially guys. We're stuck, but we don't think we're stuck. We'll go forward, we'll go backwards, we'll go forward, we'll go backwards. And then there's a point at what? Where the equipment is about to wear out, or our bride yells at us, we're stuck, call for help. When do you give up being stuck? Because even after you call for help, you're still stuck, aren't you? We used to get calls all the time in the winter when people would slide off in the ditch, because we were the ones that had the big tractors, right? And our tractors sometimes had chains, and we had all of the stuff necessary to pull cars out of ditches. We had the horsepower, we had all of this stuff, but when do you give up being stuck? Think about that in your life right now. Maybe you're stuck in an idea, in a mindset. Emily shared with us before we got started. There was this idea. She might have been stuck in the idea of this condition I have that's in my body. I don't know that I've done anything bigger than that. And then somebody much powerful than all of us pointed to her and directed to her and recorded in her mind and remembered the memory she had that, no, you did this, this, and this. Yeah, I think that's better than this, bigger than this. You were really stuck back then. Can you give up and still be stuck? Well, I guess you could, right? Well, I'm stuck on this planet till I get to my everlasting, life. Okay. I feel like I'm in prison. How many people who are outside of prison? I dare you to go spend a night in prison and then never say that again. I haven't been, but I have been this. So we had on our family's boat, a 50-foot boat, we had a Belmore trawler, a wooden hull. Anyways, we had the dinghy, right? The little boat that goes along with it. We had taken the dinghy, and it was a rubber raft, if you will. You could put a Zodiac. We took it to go to another part of Florida, and we didn't have its license plate. It's called its FL numbers, or whatever state you're in, right? But it's called its numbers. So the game warden, the fishing game warden, gave us a citation. He says, just go to court, bring your FL numbers, and you'll be fine. Well, I didn't go, and I'm the baby, so I asked my older brother, Jimmy, I go, oh my God, I forgot to go to court. He goes, let him find you. Anybody know where this story's going? Monday morning, 8 o'clock. I have an arrest for the warrant for Sean G. Murphy, fugitive at large. My mother went. So anyway, so I was stuck in jail, the holding cell for, I don't know, 3 hours. I was literally like one of those characters on TV going, man, woo, time in the slammer. Well, you've been here for like 13 minutes. So, but I gave up. I rode in the front seat of the car with the guy, all of that stuff, didn't put the handcuffs on me. I was stuck, but you just give up at that point, right? You have to go through the process. What process are you going through right now that you've got to continue to go through, or that you need to call somebody for help? And how has your life changed when you get unstuck? How has your life changed when you got unstuck? When you made your decisions, when you listened to stories that Elaine talks about of being involved with these companies and saying, we're going to stay here a little bit longer. We're going to finish out because we made a commitment. Well, I'm sure other people go, man, they are stuck in their ways. See, and again, this is coming to me now. There's a difference between being stuck and being committed. Is there? Do we just call it that? Maybe we should be committed so that we could be stuck in an asylum, right? When other people look at the way we do things, they're stuck in their ways. All of these things are powerful when you start to have these conversations. How much time do you think you are stuck? That was a tough one. I tried to start to answer that. I really started to try to answer that last night. And I went, I don't know. I think a lot. I know on these calls in the morning, I'm not stuck because I'm letting my creative show up. I'm listening to the things coming to me. But could you imagine if you really had to think, how much time are you stuck? How many times do we change up here, but our body is stuck, right? Who gets you stuck? That would be a good one to answer. That would be a good one to ponder on a regular basis. Because if we've ever said, I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my mindset, I'm not all of fill in the blank, it just proves we are not our thoughts. If you've ever gone to sleep at night and man, you just can't stop that mind from racing, it proves we're not our thoughts. So who gets you stuck? What gets you stuck? I go back to the body again. I'm so much leaning towards the physiology of goal setting versus the psychology of goal setting. We have to have a psychological blueprint, but in our psychological blueprint, one of the key components of goal setting and changing your mind and the books that influence you, the information you're putting into your brain, we've really got to spend time on the body. That's such a part of it. What part of you becomes stuck? You know, Emily mentioned something. I had a mentor of mine one time go, it's not arthritis, it's arthrongus. There's nothing right about it, right? So what part of you becomes stuck? Do you, Michelle, she's probably gonna yell at me, my pride, has had this like cramp in her hip, like but above her hip and her back somewhere, that has just been, I mean, it was tear jerking, where you couldn't actually move. One of those cramps where you can't move it forward or backwards or this side or the other, just discomfort. But she's been meditating every morning for a while now, and that actually might have kept her if we weren't aware of the things that happen inside of our body. What are your rules that allow you to get stuck? Oof. Oh, I really seriously could not imagine having as deep a conversation, at least as my own head, right? A lot of times people will say, man, I talk to myself a lot when I want to have some good conversation. What are the rules that allow you to get stuck? See, if we start to recognize these things, we can recognize. Y'all know that there's a signs that say bridge freezes, bridge may ice over before road. Bridge freezes first. And so if you're going 80 miles an hour and you see a bridge and you don't know that bridges freeze over first, you may go scooting right through there. I remember if I was in Abilene, Texas, and we had a snowstorm here a couple of years ago, or ice storm. It took me that's normally a 3.5 hour trip. It took me 12 hours to get home, because of just this ice and snow and all of that stuff and people being idiots and in ditches and stuff. the rule that I used is I understand ice and I'm going to drive where I can be safe. But you get some folks who can't drive in the snow, if you will. When do you turn stuck into action? Right? How many of us have ever stuck something under a car tire trying to get it out? We found a piece of wood. We stuck a piece of wood under the tire. We went and we found chain. We got sand, right? If you were in sand, you got palmetto leaves. You went and found a palm tree. Anything. So stuck, I go back to, again, this is just showing up in my head, Brene Brown, guilty versus shameful. See, we can sit there on the side of the road and be stuck, and we could actually shame ourselves into not doing any action. We could be so stuck in our ways that we're afraid to get out. We're afraid to ask for help. And when stuck gets you into action, when you know you are no longer stuck. When do you know you're no longer stuck? I can tell you, I've had a flat tire before, and there's been a time where I've called AAA, and I got back in my car and I went, oh, they're on their way, cool. Now, they didn't show up for an hour, but my mindset changed that I was unstuck because they were coming. So it all comes back to mindset, doesn't it? But I can also tell you that when I made that call and they answered, because my phone connected in the middle of nowhere, and they said, yep, we'll be on our way. How many of us have ever asked for help and all of a sudden, everything changed in our body? We were still there. We hadn't left that point yet. We haven't gotten far enough away for us to be different inside. It was how we start sending thoughts. See, our heart sends more information to our brain than our brain to our heart, and then our brain sends stuff to our stomach, and our stomach sends information to our brain. All of this is connected. When does stuck produce results for you? This is where because I'm using the same slides, right? You recognize these slides on a regular basis. I use the same format. That's when I realized stuck also means good. Because I am stuck when people ask me, so Sean, how are you? I am outstanding. I'm stuck on that response. I'm stuck on when somebody asks me for help, for me to dive deeper, to have a deeper connection with them than most of their closest friends, because I'm not talking about the weather. We're not going to have a small talk conversation. When does stuck let you down and fail to produce? I think most people who aren't on this call, most people who haven't looked at everything in a couple of ways would say, being stuck has never helped me. But how many of us have ever been stuck in traffic, or how many of us have ever been slowed by our forward progress in life? And maybe, just maybe, it kept us from being in an accident, from being someplace at the right time at the wrong place. How many of us will never know that if we ever got stuck, had a flat tire, got in traffic, that it kept us from having a serious, possibly life-ending reality? We'll never know that, right? When it makes you an outsider to the group, right? I go to church and I'm going to a church experience. Let me be very clear. And imagine there's somebody in the choir that knows of a neighbor of theirs that just absolutely sings beautiful. And they tell the choir director, we need to get Molly in the choir. She sings like great. And that would make the three of us sound a lot better. And she's stuck. She's just too embarrassed to do that. When does that idea of you sticking to your guns make you an outsider? I can tell you right now, I was listening to Kayla's story on one of the recordings where she says, it was January 1st. She goes, yeah, I got to tell, my coach wants me to up at the morning at 6:30. And they're like, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't do that. They got to, and Kayla's words were, they got to understand you have a life. And I heard this again, right? How many times do you hear something different? You hear it different, but it's the same words. It was a recording. It didn't change. So when does being stuck make you an outsider? What other ones of being stuck can you remember? Remember, stuck is also stick to it, right? Requirements. Become aware of your condemning thoughts about being stuck. God, I'm just so stuck. I'm stupid. Why am I so stupid? Why am I not good enough? See, that idea, maybe it's not the idea as much as you're stuck in the idea. I go back to, again, meditation, become immersed in sound and silence. I can't be on a conference call, looking at a Zoom, talking to Mason, and come up with some of these ideas. I ain't smart enough. I sit in meditation, in quiet. Now, I'm not sitting there, I go light a candle and, do my fingers and cross my legs. I can barely cross my legs just like one over the other, let alone all those poses. Become immersed in sound and silence again. What belief do you have towards, I don't know where that line even comes in, but maybe that's towards forgiveness of being stuck. It's supposed to be, when do you have belief towards, what belief do you have towards stuckedness? But maybe it's what belief do you have towards forgiveness, forgiving yourself for being stuck? How many of us, if we gave up some of our old beliefs, a shell of us would fall away almost instantly? Part of us would just go whoop, because we've given up some of our beliefs are pretty strong, right? What are your 10 rules that you should change around being stuck? Woof. Only 10, Sean? That's what goes through my head. But here's the reason why it's so important to take time and do the exercise, do the work, right? Because we can all talk about going to the gym and going to the gym, sitting at the smoothie bar. Okay, you can say you went to the gym, but you got to do the work there. What would be the things you need to give up? I got to work on this one. I physically have to write that down in my journal and think about it. What are the rules that I would change around being stuck? And when can you change stuck into something more positive? What's the fear of finding out you're stuck? That how many of us have ever been? I remember when my dad used to, we used to play hide and seek, and I used to try to scare him, and it was very hard to scare him, but there would be times where he tried to scare me. And how many times have we ever been, knowing we're about to be scared, we wouldn't open our eyes? Anybody ever been in one of those situations where like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. The ponytails and rocking horses, right? We won't open our eyes to see what's there. Scary movies, right? And we do this, peeking through it like this keeps it. But remember, when we do this thinking that it's going to keep us, so we can close that right away when the music changes, what are we doing? We're using our body to protect us. The clues have always been there. I don't know that I've ever seen that, right? We hide our face with a pillow. But what's the sadness when we figure it out? What's exciting when all of a sudden we do open our eyes, and what we thought was there being scared, we're no longer scared. Don't bumps in the house sound a lot louder in the middle of the night? When the laundry basket falls off the washing machine because it's going cattywampus because something's out of center inside of the washing machine, and you go, what was that? And you've heard it 100 times. It's why you can remember, oh, that was just the laundry basket. But the reason you go, what was that? Is because at 3 o'clock in the morning, you don't have a program running in your head. You don't have a stuck pattern running in your head where the laundry basket falls off at 3 o'clock in the morning. Any of us live near train tracks or close enough to where you can hear the engine, the whistle of the train, the horn of the train? I promise you, if you took a tennis ball and threw it outside your back, go to the back door of your house and threw a tennis ball as far as you could throw it. I lived in my office when I went down to Florida was closer to the train tracks than the tennis ball you could throw. And there was 2 crossings on either side within 300 feet, 400 feet. And they would blow the horn. These were phosphate trains in Mulberry, Florida. I was like, oh my God, we will never, I can't, well, how can anybody ever do business here? Well, guess what happened? I habitualized to it after living in the office on a cot for 2 years. I could go to sleep at night and not even hear the train. Why? How could you not do that? Because the pattern, the brain looks for 2 things. Will it kill me? And how fast can I recognize the pattern? To me, growing up in Ohio, not near trains, not near railroad crossings, anytime I heard a horn and it was that loud, I'm in a car on the track about to get run over. Until that thing changed in my body. And then what's the new norm? You're the rule breaker. You're the unstuck maker. You're the one. Imagine not being stuck anymore. Imagine giving up your beliefs. Here's the problem. How many of us have ever left friends stuck in a car? I love this. This is cool. I mean, I'm liking it. I don't know if anybody else is getting it, but how many of us have ever, like, imagine if our family was in a car and we're like, sayonara, suckers, I'm out of here. And you left your family stuck in the car. You left your 3 closest friends stuck in the car. Could you imagine the shit you would be in tomorrow if when they get unstuck, like, you SOB, I can't believe you just left us there. This is what happens every time we set a goal. We've got all our friends in a party. They're all at the campfire. They're all hanging out. And you go, okay, I'm out of here. I'm Audi 5000. Boop, and you head off. And everybody at the party's going, where the hell are you? I got to tell you, that happens here at my house. There are times everybody goes, oh my God, he's so outgoing. I wish I had his energy. When there's times when people come to my house, I sit on the back porch. Michelle threatens me every time now because we've had like 20 people at the house and I've gone off and gone to bed. Y'all ever do that? I'm just looking up now to set the screen. Y'all ever leave a party and just go to bed and everybody's like, where the hell are they? Where'd Linda go? Went to bed? What? Right? And you got to deal with the aftermath of that. That's just going to bed at your own house. Imagine if you left people, right? You're the average of the 5 closest friends. Imagine if you left your 5 friends and you went to a whole new section. So there you go. What will I change? What will I challenge today to become aware of my rule sets? What could happen if I change my rules on being stuck? I don't know, this one, it seemed fun for me today. It just, I mean, they're all fun. I absolutely love doing it. But this one just had a different flavor to it about being stuck. It's an easier word. It's a less sophisticated word than being a mindset and all of this other stuff. Being stuck was just pretty amazing. So
yes, I'm going to say something real quick.
Go ahead, please, Danya.
Before I have to run off here. I have, I guess, had a mind switch over the past probably month. Used to, I would use the word stuck as an excuse and realized that that's exactly what it was. It was just an excuse, and I really wasn't stuck. I was just afraid to take action. And really, action is so much easier than being stuck because we get in this mindset of not doing anything. And once you get in the process of actually taking steps, reaching out to people, it's actually quite fun, and you get unstuck. It may be small steps, but at least you're moving slowly in a forward progress. So yeah, the opposite of stuck, action.
Danya, I appreciate that. I lived in Florida for a while, and there was a country singer who had his license taken away from him, a big country singer. I mean, they had a huge house right there in this part of Lakeland. And who knows the story or ever seen one of the videos where he's driving his John Deere lawnmower to the bar? Right? So that being said, a 2-mile-an-hour lawnmower was better than being stuck at home.
Good morning, everybody. Are you ready? This is like huge epiphany yesterday in my truck. Huge.
Oh, cool.
So
Here we go.
on my little happy gratitude note for yesterday, I have written, first day back in the truck, listen to excellent peeps all day, and because of that, I experienced an instant manifestation and also realized the no friend thing, which I haven't shared with you guys, is to shield me so I can empower the paradigm shift that I'm trying to have. Like, mind blown. Okay. So literally I switched off of Abraham Hicks and I went to Noah St. John and his thing that he does with the thought changes and the better question.
Yep,
I immediately asked, so instead of, well, why aren't I rich like everybody? I asked, how come I'm so rich? I kid you not, you guys, within 2 minutes of phone call, and I had unexpected income in my lap. Instant manifestation, crazy. And then later on, I was listening to the podcast of an Eric Worre with, oh gosh, I'm not gonna think of his name. He was at the GoPro event, big author on mindset. Oh, I'm not gonna think, he's huge in the world. But anyway, they were talking about the paradigm shift stuff. And I've been kind of woe is me because I've been having, like, friends that have been in my life have been pushed out of my life. So basically, I'm like talking to nobody about just stuff in life, girlfriend stuff, not business stuff, girlfriends. I've lost those people. They've been pushed away. Well, the reality of that, if they were still in my life and in my head and we were having conversations, where they're at in their life would be shifting into my life, bringing my thoughts backwards. So the whole point of all of this silence that I've been experiencing is so that I can literally empower all of you guys into my life to take over the new thoughts that I'm supposed to be thinking. Holy moly, great day in the truck. Sometimes that rolling university is everything. And then this morning, the reason I was late getting on here was because the little gremlin over here on this shoulder is not allowing me to find the email to get the link to jump on. And instead of, I'm telling you, it's the no talking shoulder, that throat thing, right? So instead of getting upset about it, I'm like, I love that because I'm gonna get there. I'll find it. It'll just take a minute. I'll find it. And here I am. So huge, you guys. This stuff is really working. Bear with us. Follow Sean. Listen to we're all here and we're gonna get through all of our shit. So I'm becoming unstuck is the to what you're talking about today.
How cool is that? And think of it this way. We can all say, see, when we're unstuck, it's kind of like being over a cold or being out of a situation. We can point to it and go, I used to be there. Well, you were always there. You were there before you got there, and you were there, and you're there when you left, because if you can still see it, you can still get there. So what I would ask you, Elaine, is to go buy a little cheap frame. It doesn't have to be cheap. I would buy a $1 million frame, because that little sticky note, that's the chain that you use to get unstuck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The fact that you put words down on that, you change. Go back to Wayne Dyer, change the way you look at things. Go back to Noah St. John's, affirmations, right? So, I mean, and Noah's a friend of mine now. I've done interviews with him and all of this. He's been to the ANMP. Mason, actually, this is the book that Mason read. Well, not this particular book, but this is the book Mason read. It's called The Secret Code of Success. And you know where it got reference to me? Where it was referred to me was in a passing comment at one of Ray Higdon's live events, lives that he does. I clicked on, and Ray said, one of the best books I've ever read, Secret Code to Success, Noah St. John. And when I hear Ray say that, never heard of Noah before. Noah's been doing this for 25, right? Same
That's what
thing.
practice.
So you have this little sticky note because you waved it. You showed us it. It's a blue sticky note. I saw it.
It goes in my gratitude jar.
So goes in your gratitude jar. I would I would take a picture of that on your phone so that
Okay.
gratitude of that particular note, anytime you want to, you can pick it up and touch it. I go back to Tony Robbins. It becomes now your touchstone
Got
until
it.
something more valuable. Because I can promise you, the gremlin showed up this morning. You said it. Those damn and that's the body. That's the body, because you got into a state of push. Oh my God, where's the email? I'm gonna let them down. I'm not there. I'm all this and all of these. There were thoughts you don't even know you had
It was
at a
rolling.
subconscious level, right? You're only aware of the conscious stuff. You're not aware of the iceberg underneath. And then when you said, and I love that, it just goes poof.
It did.
You-
It absolutely did.
And I know, folks, it sounds so cheesy. If you're not used to this mindset of, oh, how cool, this is freaking awesome. I
And to
get to
recognize
be
it
aware
for
of
what
this,
it is.
right?
Yeah, it's huge.
This is so cool. And listen, Linda, listen, Linda, listen, Linda, right? That's you. What is it? You can't believe a word Grandma says. We've been doing this since December 17th. I
Mhm.
haven't even been doing this in 30 days, and we're having some life-changing awakenings, revealings in 30 days, less than 30 days.
It's so crazy.
I've always been, people have always said to me, for years I used to call myself an accountability coach, but nobody wanted to be accountable. Hey, Rhonda, go, love you, have a great morning. People would go, well, I don't want to be held accountable. So then I changed it to mentor. See, Elaine's known me long enough to know that was one of my monikers. I am mentor to other mentors. Well, hell, the people I was mentoring weren't mentors. I mean, they thought they were, right? But what mentor is going to go hire a mentor unless they're a smart one? But then, anyway, so that's when I came to this, where we're at now, psychological blueprint, having these conversations. And in 30 days, less than 30 days, 20 days, we're having awakenings. I know I'm having an awakening every day. Something's changing. Who else? Something's showing up in this stuck. Thank you, Leslie. That was awesome. Thank you for being there, because I know there's days that, you're sitting like this going, I ain't going to jump in the middle of that. I'm not there. I'm going to listen. And, and again, isn't it cool that we can have these awakenings and we show up for our own self? Because that's the part of you that's showing up, is the part of you that has always been there. What else is showing up for folks?
Hey, Sean. Yeah, it was interesting when you were talking about how, when I shared before about staying with a company and we committed, so we were set and we were stuck and that's what we had to do. But and then the word stick-to-itiveness comes into my mind. It's because you stick to it. And it's interesting. Sometimes we've heard that Rick and I get called, we're the couple that they stick to their guns, right? They stick to what they say they're going to do. But in thinking about that, when you were talking today and you get stuck in your ways, especially if you've been in the networking world for as long as we have, I got thinking when Dexter Yeager passed away a couple of days ago, and I was back to, we were 18 and going to events and the things that we would do, but how we built our business back then. And today, like, technology changes, the world changes, but you can still be stuck in your ways. And I catch Rick more than me because he's not, we're working on texting and things on his phone, right? So he's more stuck in his ways, where I've broken free of a lot of those things. And it's kind of like, when I say stuck in your ways and old school, I totally still believe in belly to belly, which is why I'll do coffee dates. But there's so many other ways to find somebody these days. And we're in the throes of moving. You can see boxes behind me. And Rick has certain boxes that he's got to go through. if I opened them, you guys would fall over. They are full of business cards. And he's like, well, I need to keep them because what if I want to find somebody? I get the pile of crap and there's a pony in there, but unfortunately, most of these people are probably not around. And it's, to me, it's like he's so stuck in his ways that I'm like, honey, we can find them anywhere. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, right? And it's just, I noticed how he's stuck in those ways because he's just not learned to do, or he's not ventured out to try new things. Where my new thing that I have, you know, I get stuck on using the phone all the time to actually dial their number. But a new thing that I'm having fun with and changing and breaking that mold is, hey, I can call somebody on Facebook. I can just hit that little phone there means dial. And I don't have numbers for people, but I can find you. I can call you. I don't have to be stuck to go find, you know, a phone book, right? How do you find, there are no phone books, right? So is when you're talking about this, and what are some of the ways you're still stuck in the negative side of it, and what can I do to change it? In the business side, there's so many things, and it can be a lot of fun. It can be releasing to try something new and shock somebody on the other end when they're like, how did you get a hold of me? Well, here, look, there's a phone, push it, you know? So it's, you know, I look at it from the fun side of it, but I also totally understand. So that's kind of like turning that stuck into an action where you find a way to get out of it and just go do it. But so this is good. It's challenging. And I really like how, you know, every day, Sean, you've got these, write those 10 things down and you take that time. And some of them are easy to fire out a whole bunch of 10. Some of them I sit there and I'm stuck on like 2. And then it's like, you know, trying to figure it out. And it's like, that's because you're thinking too hard. Just let it go. Just what's there, and don't be stuck about dealing, you know, diving in really deep and trying to get, you know, philosophical about something. Just get it out there. So this is pretty cool.
I love it. One of the things that popped up when you were talking about, how many of us have ever had a cut on our finger and didn't know it till somebody goes, you're bleeding, and you're like, oh, whoa, I didn't know it. Or you banged your finger and you hit it in a car door or a hammer or whatever, and you never realized how often you bang that finger everywhere during the day, right? Because it's so sensitive. That's what being stuck is. When we realize this thing about stuck, we take off our, oh, I'm perfectly fine glasses, and we can see all of the stuck shit around us. We're like, oh my God. Who else has got something they want to share that's sitting on them?
Good morning,
Rob
everyone.
joined us in Cameraland. Hey, Rob.
Good morning, everyone. So talking about being stuck and getting unstuck is just learning to do it. And then all those things that you had in your mind that really aren't true get actually exposed, right? Like I'm doing these Facebook Lives because Ray is, you know, no baby bearing, right? So I'm doing that, and it's just not my comfort thing to be, you know, in front of the camera. But then you go back and you look at it and you're like, wow, that wasn't so bad, you know? So then you just start to build that confidence up for whatever it is you think you're being stuck in. And then you just get to perfect or work on other things that you want to work on. So that's what I'm doing right now. And it's not really the comfort zone, but once you get out there and do it, you know, I'm seeing that, you know, it's not so bad after all. And I kind of like it, because you can actually shock some people like she was saying. I thought that was really good, Elaine, just because, and just not worrying about what other people are going to think or say, you know, looking for that approval. So that was good. That was my yesterday. So.
That's so awesome, because again, here's the thing. Free your mind and your body will follow. No, not so much. When I take people, when I have new students come into my stable, if you will, and we have these conversations, it's not there's never a moment where we're training. It's always a moment of awareness. I awaken people to the words they use. I go, do you hear how many times you use this word, that word? And they don't, because it's their pattern. But what happens is when we decide to free our mind, when we decide to start to read books, we'll lose the damn book. Well, our power will go out. Well, the car won't start. It's your body trying to figure out, it's the universe of you, this person. And when you really start to dive deep into this stuff, the shit that comes out of your body, literally, figuratively, emotionally, you're creating new cells. You're ripping out this old thing and your body's going, wait. So there's such a physiology to this psychology. I love using those two words in a sentence because if anybody just heard that sentence, they'd think I'm smart. So what else is showing up for folks? Anything showing up on this stuckedness? Doobie doobie doo. Hello, Kayla.
Good morning. Well, I'm stuck with these morning sessions every morning, so I'm happy for that. I never thought I was gonna think of that word as something positive, and I'm stuck, and I love it. First time I say it. So, yes, it's true. How can I never thought about that word as something positive, and got so much things going through my mind now that you're talking about being stuck. And also, now that you're saying those things, it's like I feel like I've been stuck all my life, you know, and in everything. Even when I feel like I wasn't stuck, I was stuck in the action. Because I remember a lot of time in my life, like being little and young, and every time I have a problem, I just run away and I just click my mind and change my mind real fast and go somewhere else or do something else and just forget about it. And maybe that was my way of dealing with things. But then after many years, I realized, and now that you mentioned that, I guess I was stuck on also on the solutions. My solution was to run away. So I wasn't stuck on the problems that was going on like any single time, but I was stuck on the solution. So that just clicked my mind. You know, it's funny, you know, how you sometimes you think you solving things or you dealing or you know how to deal with your problems, or you think that you got the best solutions to your problem, and actually it's not true. It actually is that it's a behavior and you're stuck on the behavior that you think is right. So I'm just realizing that right now, you know, because my whole life I've been saying that I was good on, well, first I used to say I was good on blocking things. Then I started to say I was good. Then I said, no, I wasn't good on block things. I was just good on run away. And now I say, no, I wasn't good on run away. I was good on being stuck now. So I'm learning, and that's why I say I love these sessions. Today is our 16th session, so, and I'm stuck with it. And,
listen, they say we do it 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 more days. This is like habit now. But here's the thing, Kayla, I love it because what I just heard is that I was stuck on the solution. What if we all became stuck on finding our solutions? Those words are, it's like jumbo shrimp, right? There's words, they don't go together. The CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, it's just like, right? So I love that. And if we listen to the words, right? I go back to that, Linda, listen. If we listen to the words that we say, we'd be surprised. There's a great movie, it's with Eddie, I think it's Eddie Murphy. He's not known as this very emotional actor, but I think it's the movie's called 1,000 Words. And a tree grows up in his backyard and it's a money tree, but every time he says a word, the leaves fall off, the money falls off, whatever it is. And he winds up not saying anything. There's people who I've watched where they've gotten laryngitis for a week, right? They tell the story. That's part of a book they created that they weren't able to talk for like 7 days. There's one, I'll think of it. I'll make a note about for tomorrow. But she could perfectly speak like all of us, but decided for 7 days to just go silent and to go to every meeting silent, to write down notes and send back. Imagine if for the next week, could you imagine me not being able to talk for a week?
No.
What else is showing up for somebody?
But I just want to say one more thing.
Yes, please. You're stuck on wanting to say one more thing.
Well, yes, because I always get stuck on waiting everybody to talk and listen to everybody. And at the end, I say, oh, bye-bye, and I never talk. So I was stuck on that. But anyway, I give the chance to everybody else. But just one thing, because it really clicked my mind today when you say this. It was, wait. Aquí está.
Sí, acá. Dale.
I mean, here it is. I forgive myself for being stuck. Yes. And you said something. You said, oh gosh, I forgot what you said. But you said something that it came to my mind, that one of the things that I guess I started to do maybe at the end of the last year, or since I started to talk to you, actually. Yeah, actually, yes, since I met you. Forgive myself for being stuck. Well, I didn't know actually I was doing that, but I guess that's what I was doing. Because I guess I'm just putting names on things that I'm doing now. So yeah, I started to forgive myself of being stuck, because I stopped feeling bad of the things I've done and the behaviors I have and the way I am. I started to forgive myself, because I guess that's result for so many things, right? And given that is the result, that's why I've been stuck. So I think I'm getting stuck right now talking, but but I guess I just forgive myself for the way I am sometimes, because it's the result, and I'm dealing with it. It's the process, I guess. And thank you. And I always gonna say thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Lane. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, everybody here, because I learn from you every day. And I'm stuck with you guys, and you guys are stuck with me, even though you guys don't know that you are stuck with me, because now I even look for you in Facebook and I follow everybody. So you guys are stuck with me too, Tracy, and I follow you. So you got a new friend in Panama, you guys are stuck with me. So that's it.
We love it. Hey, listen, see, when I stand up in front of an audience and I say, listen, you can give me any word and I can give you a presentation on it. Have you ever been to a workshop where you spend an hour on the word stuck? And based on the way we've been looking at this now, we could spend a whole day on talking about just being stuck. How cool is this when we start to get out of this? This is pretty cool. We do so much for this. Oh, and by the way, the average person spends $8 on the inside of their head on a yearly basis versus the outside of their head. Imagine if the time we spend in our body. This is so cool. Who else? Anybody else want to share something? I'd ask you to take some time today to be aware of it and be the observer, not the abuser. And what I mean by that is the abuser is the one that goes, oh, son of a bitch, see, I'm doing it again. No, we know that. We know we're going to do it again. That's what we are. That's who we are. We're going to do it again. There's no doubt. But don't beat ourselves up, right? That's why I call it the abuser. If we put the word abuse in front of something, it gets some attention. But if we go, oh, I beat myself up all the time. Well, stop being the abuser. Stop that. Be aware of it. You'll still do it. That's when we go through the 4 stages, right? Fear, sadness, excitement. The sadness part is, God, I knew I shouldn't have done that. And you can't go back and look at stuff and go, ugh, I'm such an idiot. I know this. Yes, you can say that, but you're stuck in saying that. And therefore, you'll be stuck in saying that. And therefore, the next time you say it, you'll be stuck in saying that. And you'll be this, most kids won't ever know what it's like to see a record skip and repeat, right? They'll never know that. But yet we can run that skipped record in our head. I wish you all to have this awareness of stuck. Go like Elaine said, be stuck to your guns, but look at it always as the positive. If I get stuck on this, right? How many of us have ever had gum stuck in our hair? or stuck gum in somebody's hair? Just be aware of these moments where we feel stuck, where we feel it in our body. Oh my God, I feel stuck. I just can't do this. I can't do that. I can tell you with all of these challenges with what Ray's going on, I'm part of that. And so is Tracy. And I see all of these messages where people are like, oh my God, I sat in front of the thing for 4 hours. You're sitting in front of your computer, healthy, happy, in a home, with electricity, with a computer, with internet connection, and you're freaking out to hit the start button? Yeah, isn't it funny? Because we get stuck in our way. I can't tell you how much I love you all for getting me unstuck. I had this wild hair ass of an idea that I wake in the zombie video, and I'm going to start a live in the morning. I'm going to do this, and all of a sudden you all show up, and it's like, look what I got myself into. I absolutely love it. I am honored to have all of you just here. And because when you leave here, the things I see on your Facebook pages, your stories, when you leave here, what you're doing to impart joy and happiness into the world is helping me on my mission to be a better dad, better husband. And the way I do that is putting more smiles in the world. And I promise you, today, smiles will show up in my world, will show up for Mason's world and my bride's world, from smiles you've shared since we started this. They've just finally made their way to us here in Plano, Texas. And for that, I will forever be grateful.
Hey,
Oof.
Sean.
Yes, Cadillac.
It's stuck could be a journey too. You know,
Totally.
we were stuck in our own ways, the old way, and then again on these Zoom calls and Facebook and all this stuff, and you're changing your mindset. You're getting out of that stuckness.
Yep. You're absolutely right, Cadillac. And a lot of times to get out of our stuckness, we have to change the location of our body. Whether that's you get up and move around, or you do what you did, move from San Antonio up to the cold north, right? But sometimes you got to change your environment. That's cool.
That's a journey.
It is a journey.
We're all
brother.
on a journey. That's
Alexa,
the
please
positive
stop.
way.
So there you go. I see Bob unmuted himself, but I don't know if he wants to share any wisdom.
I'll chime in for a second. Good morning, angels.
I love it. I have it on recording. I love it. I love it. It's going to be my new ringtone. I love it.
What I've been thinking about is I kind of want to go back to yesterday, and if Emily will allow me, she raised an example of what possibly could be a somatization or a situation where our body is showing up trying to express ourselves with her hip. So before she left, I was thinking to myself, what if she interviewed her hip? What if she sat down and said, you know, if I knew what my hip was trying to tell me, it might be Another thing that my hip might be trying to tell me might also be, or if you sat down in front of a mirror and imagine seeing that hip part of you in the mirror in front of you, and ask that, you know, what's on your mind? What do you need from me today? Is there something that I could do that would improve your experience? This is not to say that, you know, physical conditions are not real. You know, I currently have a bad left knee that I'm contemplating getting stem cell work done on before too long. But I also have to give thought to, is that knee that's keeping me immobile, is that trying to say something to me? Like maybe it's trying to tell me not to do something, or to shift my attention into doing something different. So I'm just throwing out the idea that these stucknesses, whether they're physical or psychological, can be serving us in some way, maybe not the best way. And this is where I'll kind of revert back to what I suggested a few sessions back. A really great book to get is Connie Ray Andreas's Core Transformation, because that's one tool that you can use to start to explore things like that. There are a whole bunch of different tools which maybe we can get to over time, but she takes the position of looking at how we organize our beliefs in a contingency. You know, if I do X or I have to do X, what does that make possible for me? And if I think of that, if I have X or do X and I get Y, what does having all of that make possible for me? That's even more important than either X or Y. And if you continue down that list, that strategy of asking questions, owning and accepting your earlier, the prior obsessions, eventually you'll get to a point where that outcome will result in something like peace or serenity or happiness, or an emotional state is generally the end result of that strategy that we have unconscious, in our unconscious. So that when you follow that and you interrogate yourself in that way, or you have someone help you with that, you'll find out that along that strategy, there's some things that you think you have to do or have or be that maybe really aren't all that important. Because if you can allow yourself to have the feeling state to begin with, why do you have to go through all of that trouble? Perhaps I can put together something that we can share, a little handout or something that makes that a little clearer. But the point is, you can, by going through that process, you can discover what is the process that I believe I have to do that maybe not really relevant. It might have been relevant in the past, but maybe today it doesn't work for me quite so well. So I can say, well, okay, I don't have to go get a degree. I don't have to go work in an office in order to make enough money to be comfortable to ultimately have my happiness. Maybe I just need to do something that I really love. Things like that. So there's tools like that that are really pretty neat to to dive deep and find out where stuckness exists. No, I'll leave it at that for today.
I love it. So I put a picture of a screenshot in the chat of what the book looks like, and I put the Amazon link, so at least you'll know where to go look for that book that he recommended. Hey, listen, I'm stuck on y'all too. Like Kayla said, I love what we get to do here together. I appreciate everybody. I love the messages that I get afterwards. You guys are changing the world. I'm just proud to have been a little catalyst to do this, but y'all are doing it. Y'all are doing the work, and that's the thing that I want to reward you for, is that you're doing the work. Because sometimes when we leave this community and we go back to we got to show up, and outside that door is a shitstorm called life that we got to deal with from day to day. It's always going to be there. It's when you open that door, how are you going to see it? So y'all are just amazing. I appreciate you. Bob, thanks for doing all you do. And every one of you, thanks for doing all you're doing. We are changing the world. If you've ever said, the world can't stay the way it is, you're part of this community, you're making it different. You're helping us all have a better day. When Leslie can put on a little sticky note, a saying that's going to go in her gratitude chart, and her day changes in 9 hours, how freaking cool is that? We can't say we're going to go save 1 million people. We got to start with one. And the first one I'd suggest is the one we're starting with right here, yourself. So thank you for all of that. I love you all. Listen, if you need a fix over the weekend, I'll throw a webinar together and we'll all hang out. It's kind of like I need my stuff. We'll figure it out. I love you tons. I appreciate y'all so much. Go have a blessed day. You make the world a better place, and for that I'll be forever grateful for y'all. Have an outstanding day. I'll see you all where? At the next event. See y'all Monday. Bye for now, everybody. Yay! Love it, love it, love it.